I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is the complaint of modern women. So this is something that I often hear both from my female clients and also from the women with whom I'm personally acquainted. It's kind of a general complaint about the modern dating scene, and it has two elements. On the one hand, women lament the dearth of high-value men who are looking for committed relationships. And that is, in fact, a problem. On the other hand, women also complain about the distasteful prospect of partnering with a lower status man. And on some level, that might be the inevitable reality for many women in Western society as they collectively become more successful relative to men. Women's hypergamy motivates them to mate and date men who are higher status than them. However, as women increasingly have better educational outcomes, as they begin to out-earn men, as they occupy more positions of power and authority, they will naturally encounter a smaller and smaller dating pool from which to select appropriate men. The alternative is to resign themselves to a relationship with a lower status man. And what exactly might that look like? Well, if she has a job and he doesn't, or if she makes significantly more money than he does, that will likely mean that she will pay for most, if not all, of the material conditions of the relationship. And if she has more skills and competence than he does, that will likely mean assuming responsibility and authority within the relationship. And if she is higher value than he is, that will likely mean that the transaction of value and resources will generally flow from her to him. And many women consider this scenario and they think, what the fuck am I getting out of this situation? I provide the money and the lifestyle and the responsibility? What am I getting for my time, energy, and money? How does this help me? I'd rather just be single or pay a surrogate to have my baby. And hearing a woman talk like this warms the cockles of my heart. Because once she finishes venting her spleen, I typically hit her with a line that never fails to make her jaw drop. And that line is, "Welcome to being a man." Because her complaint is precisely the experience of men, especially high-value men, for hundreds, if not thousands of years. As the man, you were expected to provide the money and the lifestyle and the authority and the responsibility. The transaction of value and resources has, in billions of instances, flowed from him to her, and there has been little to no sympathy for his complaint if he ever had the temerity to voice it out loud. What the fuck am I getting out of this situation? And to be honest, given traditional gender roles, he likely got more out of the situation 100 years ago than he does today. Perhaps for the first time in history, a large sample of the female population is in the position to occupy the role historically occupied by men, and they don't particularly like the idea. But that's how it is. The higher status you are, the more likely you end up with someone lower status than you. It's just simple math. Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, please consider sending this video to someone who might benefit from its message. It's word-of-mouth referrals like this that really help the channel to grow. And you can also hit the super thanks button and tip me in proportion to the value you feel you derive from this video. I appreciate your support. Now, women, I can understand you want to mate and date with men who are taller, stronger, smarter, richer, higher status, more responsible, and more competent. However, if I'm that guy, you have to understand that my reward for giving you what you want is that I end up with a woman who is shorter, weaker, dumber, poorer, lower status, less responsible, and less competent. Not a very attractive prospect when it's put that way, is it? And that's precisely why you balk at settling down with a lower status man. Being the boss isn't always what it's cracked up to be. And when a woman tells me, well, Orion, I'd rather just not date at all than settle for a man who isn't really giving me what I want, I don't get angry. All the power to you, sister. I like that perspective. In fact, I adopt it myself. Indeed, more and more men are struggling with this very issue. This is the real meaning of the oft repeated phrase, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Being the higher status person in a relationship is very expensive. While women traditionally have been trying to secure the best deal, men have resigned themselves to minimizing loss. Just keeping it real. Now, when a woman arrives at success, she is well aware of all the struggle and effort and toil she put in to arrive at that place. Her status and resources are not something that she is going to hand over lightly. Well, the same is true for a man. He is well aware of the struggle and the effort and the toil that went into his success. However, there has been a social and historical expectation that men hand that over to be the provider protector and part with their hard-earned status and resources. And I'm not sure women have ever seen that to be a problem. However, now that women increasingly find themselves in a situation where the roles might be reversed, the overwhelming response is, I'd prefer not to. Well, no shit. And what does this behavior say about how women perceive relationships? I'd like to submit that they perceive relationships clearly. Their behavior aligns with my own definition of a relationship as the medium of transacted value between people. If you're not getting what you want in a relationship, if the relationship isn't making your life better than it was, then absolutely, why are you in that relationship? And potentially, for the first time in history, a large sample of the male population is allowing themselves to ask this question. What a time to be alive! So, what's the upshot? My hope is that women might use this as an opportunity for some perspective taking. This could look something like, well, if I don't want to enter into a relationship where the flow of value and resources is from me to my partner, why would a man be enthusiastic about doing that for me, especially in today's day and age? How are we going to move forward? Because my own behavior reveals that I don't believe that this is the appropriate basis of a relationship. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you've gotten this far, you might as well like this episode and subscribe to this channel. You may also consider becoming a channel member with perks like priority review of comments or booking a paid consultation. As always, thank you for listening.